Hey guys, Netherite Dev here. Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a random NPC name generator in Roblox Studio. So you can see these NPCs are spawning in on the spawner here, and they each have random names. So you have Frank Garcia, Gary Wilson, May Young, John Young, Betty Young. We have a lot of Youngs apparently. Alexa Johnson, James Brown. Right, I've added 10 first names and 10 last names. You can have unlimited first names and unlimited last names for unlimited combinations. We also gave him a little animation script from Toolbox. Congratulations to Rantalk for winning this video's daily giveaway. I hope you enjoy your 15 Robux. Make sure to join the group for a chance to win daily giveaways every video, except for mini tutorials. Anyway, back to the video. Alright guys, I'm in my base right here, and the first thing we're actually going to do is create our first and last names that our NPCs can be named. So in server storage, you can go ahead and add in a folder, and we can rename this to first names. Alright. In this first names folder we just created, you can click the little plus sign and add in a string value. So basically what a string value is it's a value that allows us to have a string of numbers or letters. So these string values are where we're going to list our names. So we're just going to duplicate this value as many times as you want. You can have as many names as you want. You can have 2 first names, or you can have 1,000,000 first names. It doesn't matter. You're just going to duplicate this as many times as you want. So in these values here, when you click on it, you can see in the properties tab, you can see this little value thingy right here. So we're going to fill this out with first names. So for this one, we can do James. And then the next one, we can do Gary. So we're just going to add in a name for every value that you have. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. Alright, so I have finished filling out my names. So if you see, every value, or every string value has a different name inside of it. I have 5 male names and 5 female names. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rename these values. We're going to number them so that way the script can access the names to generate names. So in the first value, you're going to right click on it, hit rename, and you're going to number it 1. On the second value, you're going to rename it to 2. Third value, you're going to rename it to 3. On the fourth value, you're going to rename it to 4, and so on for all of the names, or for all of the values you have. So I'm just going to do that right now. So you can see I have numbered each one of my values right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in another folder. We're going to rename it to last names. And you're going to do, again, you're going to click the little plus sign. You're going to add in a string value. You can duplicate this as many times as you want to have as many last names as you want. So as you can see, I have 10 values here, and now we're going to give every value a last name. Alright, so I am done. I have filled out all of these values with a different last name that I just got from Google because I cannot think of that many last names. So now that we have all our last names here, what we're going to do again is we're going to number them 1 through however many last names you have. Alright, so now that we have our names set up, we're going to go ahead and create our spawner that's going to spawn in our NPCs that are randomly named. So we can just go ahead and add in a part and customize it real quick. Alright, so I have my spawner set up. I'm just going to go ahead and rename it to spawner, just like that. And before we go ahead and get scripting, the last thing we're going to go ahead and need is a dummy. That's going to be our NPC. So in the plugins tab on the top of the screen, you can go ahead and click on the rig builder plugin and insert a rig. So I'm just going to do a block rig. You can see his name is dummy right there, but his name will be randomized later on. Make sure that you select all the parts of the dummy and make sure they're unanchored so that way he can move. And just to give them a little bit of spice, I'm going to add in an AI script that I'm going to get from Toolbox. This is the one I usually use, this guy right here. I'm just going to get the AI code, passive AI, and animate. And I'm just going to move them into the dummy. So you don't really need to give them an animation. You can make your own, or you can just have them lay there idle. But just for the video purposes, I'm going to give my dummy an animation, so that way he can move around, so he's more interesting. Alright, so now what we can do is in the Explorer tab, we're going to drag the dummy into server storage, just like this. Alright, so in the spawner here, we can go ahead and add in a script, and we can get to scripting. So what we're going to do first is we're going to create a loop that spawns in NPCs. So we're going to do while wait, and then we're going to set how many seconds we want it to spawn in NPCs, or how many seconds, every how many seconds you want it to spawn in NPCs. So I'm going to do wait 5 seconds, do, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a few variables. The first one is going to be for server storage. So you can do local server storage, I cannot spell, storage is going to be equal to game:get service, and in quotations we're going to do server storage, just like that. Right, so now we're going to create variables for the folders that contain the first and last names. So we can do local first names fold is equal to server storage dot first names. Now we're going to create a variable for the last name folder, so we can do local last name fold is going to be equal to server storage dot last names, just like that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to generate a random number, and that number is going to be the name that the NPC has. They can do local first name rand is going to be equal to math.random, and you're going to do 1, comma, however many of first names you have. So you can see I have 10 first names, so you're going to do however many first names you have. So if you have 5, you're going to do 1 comma 5. If you have 100, you're going to do 1 comma 100. I have 10, so I'm going to do 1 comma 10. So what this is doing is it's generating a random number 1 through 10, and that's going to be the first name that the NPC has. Now we're going to do the same thing for the last names. So you can do local last name rand is going to be equal to math.random 1 comma again however many last names you have. So I have 10 last names and 10 first names, which is going to be 100 different combinations of names. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to get the first name. So we can do local first name is going to be equal to first names fold colon find first child, and then we can get the first name random number that we generated, and we're going to get the string value. So what this is doing is we're getting the first names folder, which is this. We're going to find the child that is the number. So if you got the number 5, it's going to grab the number 5. If it gets the number 7, it's going to grab the number 7. And what it does is it's grabbing the value of this, and that is the first name value. So we can do the same thing for the last names. So local last name is going to be equal to last name folder colon find first child last name rand, and then we can do dot value, just like that. So now we're going to create a variable for the dummy. So we can do local dummy is going to be equal to server storage dot dummy colon clone. So we're cloning the dummy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set the position of the dummy to be on the spawner. Because it's supposed to be spawning in. So we can do dummy dot humanoid root part dot cframe is going to be equal to script dot parent dot 3frame plus vector 3 dot new 0, 5, 0. So what this line is doing, it looks confusing, is we're getting the dummy's humanoid root part, which is basically the main part of the dummy. If we open up the dummy, you can see it has a humanoid root part. We're setting the position of it to be the spawner. And then we're just moving it up 5 studs so it doesn't get stuck in the ground. Alright. Now we're going to set the parent of the dummy, so dummy dot parent is going to be equal to workspace, so that way we can see it. Alright, now we're going to set the name, so we can do dummy dot name. It's going to be equal to first name. We're going to do dot quotation mark space in the middle of the quotation marks. And then we can do outside the quotation marks, we can do dot, and then we can do last name, just like that. So what this last line is doing is we're setting the name of the dummy to be the first name, which is right here, and then we're adding in just a little space, because that's how writing works, there's spaces, and then we're just doing dot, which is basically just means to continue, and then we're doing the last name. So if we were to go ahead and test it out, see the dummy spawns in, his name is Gary Johnson, and remember we gave him that little animation script from Workspace, and you can see right here we have John Clark, we could see, and now we have Alexa Garcia. This video I think will do great with our random NPC clothes generator, which I made a few videos ago. I'll leave an iCard to it on the screen right now and at the intro. So if you can find these 2 videos, I think it would make for some great NPCs with actual characteristics. So you can see that these NPCs are spawning in, and indeed they do have random names from the names that we put in server storage. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. As we get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, I'll give away 1,000 Robux, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!